So good evening, everyone, and good morning in the rest of the world, and good day. Associative economics in Malaysia, that is a relatively new thing. Associative economics has been around for more than 100 years, actually, and it's something that needs to be thought through, understood, and then implemented. It can be done in many different ways. And so we're so happy that we have these people there in Malaysia who are doing this in such creative ways. And we're so happy to have two main persons who are implementing this and who have already had some experience in it here with us today, Callie Tai and Chong Ho. Thank you very much for coming in and being with us. So let's go ahead.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you for the lovely introduction for this evening in Malaysia time. And on behalf of Kongsi Co-op's teams, so it is really an honor for us to share some experience on what we are doing in Malaysia with the rest of the members who are either in the Zoom right now or later in other medias that watching and our sharing for tonight. So I'll just share my screen over here. So you should be seeing my screen sharing right now. Yeah, cool. So just briefly let everyone knows about our work. So usually before we start with our presentation or sharing, we always love to share this verse to start our sharing. So hope everyone is okay with that. It is by Rudolf Steiner, and then we actually very resonate on this verse because it actually gives us strength and really we think about how community can really work at the current economy now. So without further ado, I'll read the verse for you all, and you may just sit and listen with your heart. The well-being of a community working together will be greater when the less the individual claims for himself the proceed of his work. That is, the more of this proceeds he makes over to his fellow workers, the more his own needs are satisfied. Not out of his own work, but out of the work done by the others. So I guess this verse is actually not unfamiliar to those who have read the Rethinking Economy or the World Economy by Rudolf Steiner. This is the fundamental social order that has been inspired by Rudolf Steiner and how we really work as a community in an associative manner. So over here, I'll just let everyone know how did we get here today as a Kongsi Co-op and practicing on associative economy. So I am delighted to invite Callie to share with us her experience, and one of the main reason I asked Callie is because he's one of the pioneer who actually pushed the start button for this whole co-op, Kongsi Co-op in 2021. So now let me just pass the mic to Callie to share his experience on how this has started and established. Over to you, Callie.
Thanks, Hao. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. And hello to Walter, a friend that not too long ago met, but feels like an old friend. And I just maybe share a little bit about how we came to Kongsi Cooperative. Yeah. So it happened, I guess, the beginning of it, I would say, is in 2011. Okay, 2011. That was the first time I met Dr. Michaela Crocker, who came to Malaysia on invitation by Dr. Joanne Oon, a friend of mine that we've been working on quite a few projects on friendly projects. Yeah, so projects that that we think that would help the community, the environment, namely the eco-enzyme initiatives around Malaysia. So that's how I met Dr. Joanne Oon. And she invited Dr. Michaela to Malaysia after attending IPMT in Taiwan. So that's how it all started. And myself, I came from a background of organic retailing and distribution business. And during that journey, I came across biodynamic agriculture and Waldorf education. And so when I heard that this lady is coming into Malaysia to give a sharing, so so I got on the flight, to attend the sharing, and and it was arranged that I was in the same flight as Dr. Michaela. Okay, so and fast forward a little bit. So in 2013, the very first 5-year cycles of IPMT, which is, I guess most of us are not unfamiliar with this, is International Postgraduate Medical Training. We started a 5-year cycle, and then subsequently the second cycle in 2019, and we had to stop because of the global movement control due to the COVID pandemic. Yeah, so. And during the when I was I attended the very first workshop in IPMT in 2013, and the workshop was conducted by Dr. Michaela, and it was anthroposophic business. So, and I don't know what how anthroposophic could be related to business, because when I had a conversation with Dr. Michaela. She told me that, if I could gather enough interest in Malaysia, she could run a business workshop for IPMT Malaysia. So that's how in 2013, I attended the very first business workshop in IPMT, facilitated by Dr. Michaela herself. And it's quite amazing how a medical doctor could lead a group of people who are like entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs to be in a in that setting. We had people from very big corporates, and of course we have also small business operator like myself and some solopreneurs. So we had about over 20 of us, and I remember she shared one thing that I think she shared a lot of things, but one thing that really connects to me is when she talked about the threefold social order. That was the very first time I hear about threefold social order. And one word that really I felt, very memorable, and something that is very, I think I would say it resonates a lot with me, is the term called brotherhood. So it's it makes so much sense that, business should be run based on a brotherhood concept. But of course, during that time, I didn't know how this could be implemented. And then, the business workshop carry on throughout the whole IPMT first cycle, and then the following cycle as well. And I also attended the business workshop by Alexander Stradler. That is the author of the book that we are doing our text study now, which is every Thursday night, called Fully Human in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. Yeah, so he conducted the business and leadership training subsequent to Dr. Michaela. And after the whole journey, then during I would say, thankfully for the movement control in Malaysia, we had a lot of time to reflect and reconnect, and a lot of conversations with people around us. and especially with some young people like Siu Ho that you just met, and a lot of others as well in this Zoom tonight with us. Yeah, I actually had this thoughts, yeah, that, you know, what could be something that we could apply, yeah, for this, for our community. Okay, so another trigger point was that we were we actually submitted a letter of I would say comments to the government when we saw that there is a news that the government is in the midst of approving some more GMO products, yeah, to approve some GMO, a list of GMO products for Malaysia, and they had an open invitation for anyone who are concerned to join this, to send in our comments. Yeah, so we sent in, and then and through Ning is online with us today as well. Through her connection, we actually connected to the biosafety department in Malaysia. Okay, so and the officers actually came to meet us. Yeah, and you can see that there's not a lot of us, huh? But strong voices. Not many of us. And at the end of the dialogue, okay, she told us that, you know, like very matter of factly that this is how it's being processed, and unless you have something very scientific to submit to us, otherwise, you know, there's not a lot of weight. Yeah. So and she did ask a very interesting question. She asked us, which organization are you representing? Yeah. And how big is your organization? and during that time, as you can see, right, all of us are very, very concerned individuals that comes together because of a, you know, most of us have connected through some sort of anthroposophic training as well. And I think that was one of the other trigger points that, you know, we do need to come together. Yeah. So on, you know, after a few discussion with people around me, and yeah, like Siu Ho said, right, I had there's not a lot of thinking, I think, at that time. So I decided that yes, we need a consumer cooperative, okay, because then the consumer voices can be heard, and we can gather people in a common platform. Yeah. So in June, I think on 12th of June, 2021, I just yeah, literally pressed a button and submitted a form, an online form, to express my interest to form a consumers co-op. Yeah. And I thought that would probably take, I mean, based on my understanding of how government works, and it could take a while. Yeah. So I have time to gather people and maybe, you know, have some discussions. But interestingly, almost 2 days later, I got a message. I got an email from the government agencies that looks after the cooperative that we have received your application, and you may now proceed to submit your business plan. And it was like a very big thing for me. It was I would say, you know, very, very you know, like I think quite intense happiness, I guess. Yeah, that, you know, it's being recognized, being received, and now I can proceed. But on the other hand, I'm like looking around, so who do I have? What do I do now? And the very first person I approached was Ning. Okay, Ning can wave her. Ning is actually, you know, the very first person I approached. You know, I need some young, energetic person, right? And Ning has been volunteering in the Anthroposophic events online. During those days, we could only do online events. She volunteered for a 21 days life challenge. Yeah. And I actually saw a lot of you know, very positive vibes and energy in her. So she was the very first person I approached. And then she told me that I don't know anything about all these cooperatives, but I have someone in mind that might be more suitable than me. And then the next day, she brought her better half, which is Siu Ho that you met. And that's how everything started. And I think Siu Ho said I'm the one who pressed the button. Literally, I pressed the button, and after that, Siu Ho ran for it. And he was he was the guy who initiated all the submissions, all the papers, all the business plan, gathering a group of people to work together and making Kongsi Co-op happen. And yeah, it's I would say so he is literally the captain of the ship. Yeah, he connected to the officials and getting all the paperwork documentation that is needed to be submitted. And here he is still leading the crew continue on the co-op journey. So yeah, here over to you. How? Captain of the ship.
Thank you, Callie, for your kind words. Based on Callie's experience, I think most of us have heard that working on the brotherhood matters, right, is actually not a one-person show, but this is actually a works of others that sustain us. No matter whether you are working alone, together, somehow, some way, it will come across that you will have to work together as a community. So in this associative economy of co-op, Kongsi Co-op, one of the ideology that we really think is how through our cooperative model, you can really look into balancing the three sphere that we have from the teaching of the rethinking economies, where the culture sphere should be balanced together with the economic spheres and right spheres. And one of the things, the beauty of having co-op, we may actually discuss on why we want to have this co-op is because we feel that in this co-op model, and especially the consumer co-op models, we feel that the dollar and cents that we spend together is really matters that we can really make a vote for the world that we want to live in. There's so many things that the social orders running through this co-op, which has been not been really mentioned out there, and maybe because they have yet encountered the works of Rudolf Steiner. But if you really look in depth to the cooperative model, right? So it is really, how should I say it? Embracing everyone together as a community so that we can really uplift the community well-being together. And some of the examples that inspire our co-op model, it is also like the UK co-op, Han Salim co-op in Korea, and also the Homemakers Union Consumer Co-op in Taiwan. They actually share the same objective, where they also want to like uplift the community together. They also have the shared concern that they want to fight for, and also they want to address some of the local issue that only happens locally. So to the cooperative manners, they can able to group themselves, organize themselves together, and really work towards a social reform that has been work a lots of successful story. I'll not go in details on the success story of these consumer co-ops, but I would like to invite you to really look into their time, look into their history and how they really come about. They actually give us a lot of inspiration on how a social reformation can really work together as a whole community. And another community we also inspire is the Sekam community, where they have also been practicing the associative economies, whether it is directly or indirectly, for over 40 years. As you can see on the left top corner, a desert community, a small community, through their efforts working together, the brotherhood, so they can and they are able to form a larger community where their name is not uncommon to the Anthroposophic community at all. So through all this aspiration, our co-op has this vision that saying that we want to be a model consumer cooperative that advocates harmonious ecosystem for people, soil, and nature, especially in Malaysia. And people, soil, and nature is something very dear in us. So because like if we read through some of the works by Rudolf Steiner as well, he really emphasized on the well-being of people, the soil in the agriculture lecture, and also our connection to the nature, and how with all this connection we can develop fully human by ourselves. So through this aspiration, there are 4 values that we actually created on how we can develop us as a community and as a human. One of the things that you can see over here, the picture behind, is our the image of our what we call Kongsi House, our current office, our community area right now, but it is before our restoration. Many people actually ask us, with this quite a torn down kind of building, why not you just why not us Kongsi just tear down the whole thing, then abolish the whole thing, then rebuild something else. But we think that every items or everything that encounters before us, right, it actually can give us some lesson to be learned. So on each lesson that before us, what we can learn from there, and all this lesson can be done with the people and resources that we encounter. So through there, we can actually create a space, a community, or even some movement that can actually connect us. And through all these community activities, it can bring a better self within us to improve, to become a better being. And also because of all this community works, right, like Kelly mentioned earlier on, started by herself submitting one formal application, but slowly because of her action, it actually come up with a domino effect. And with all the like-minded person, they slowly can connect to each other. So through this platform, people and resources can come together and connect, whether we want to say it spiritually or physically. Because of intention, slowly people would be attracted and wanted to do something where everyone wants to do it together. And because people have been connected, so then ideas flow within the community. So then we can have opportunity to collaborate to each other. So then it forms the economics, whether you want to call it the associative economics, you want to call it the circular economics, or any other economics that you want to talk about. But through this collaboration, it really bridges the producer, the distributor, the consumer, or any other service provider together to really wanted to work something good for humanity. Or even through all this collaboration, it actually helped us to uplift ourselves to a better development for an individual. And because of the works that we have done, so directly we are cultivating a culture, especially thinking on what kind of world that we want to cultivate and leave behind for our future generation. As Kelly always like to mention, right, things that we do right now, right, shouldn't just think about for ourselves, but at least quoting from the American Indians quotes, we have to think for at least 7 generations what are the impacts that the things that we have done now would impact 7 generations later. So all this kind of work, when we talk about human development, community development, we have to really be careful and have that conscious mind when we are working together as a community. So this is why one of the main pillar from Kongsi Co-op is the Kongsi Academy, where Kongsi Academy is the arm to talk about the cultural sphere in associative economy. We want to provide a lifelong education in human development. So when the lifelong education journey started, so we aspire that we can have every people or in a family that they have a gardener who really thinks about how food sources come from. So then they can understand better on the connection with the person, with the soil, or even the nature. And also we want to talk about how education can be formed within a household. So then we can gracefully nurture our second generation to become a better person. And also we talk about the nutritionist that how we can take care of ourselves, therefore later we can take care for the others through physical and spiritually. And also because we are human, we are people, we have to take care about our threefold body. It talks about the thinking body, the feeling body, and also our willingness body. So through all this, it can develop our 4 embodiment together to become a much more improved person. And lastly, about economists. So people tend to say that economics is something very difficult and it's something very financially driven. But to us, economy, it is more to on how you optimize the resources and think about how you want to use the resources consciously, effectively, and efficiently without exploiting the nature and the others' well-being. So some of the education that we have is like we always have text study, like I think like what you did in Philippines as well. We have this text study, especially now the latest one is fully human. So we grab a book from Mr. Alexander Swindler, especially now everyone is like talking about the AI invasion and how it actually have an implication or impact on our daily life. So through study, then it actually grounds us to think and to really to review on how we can work towards to, and it helped us to have a better information to make informed decision in our daily life. And also we have associative economies, because in Malaysia, associative economies is actually quite new, and we kickstarted this associative economy to get more people to at least understand how we can work the associative economies together. So at least we cultivate interest, then people can have that opportunity to work together and stay connected together. And also we conducted different classes like this, how to make your own tempeh. Then we have this opportunity to talk about what are the connection from a person point of view with our food sources and the implication on having quality food produce that come from good farmers like the biodynamic farmers or organic farmers. Then we really talks about the whole series of conservation that we can work as a community as well. And besides food making, we also do a lots of like art related kind of workshop, because art related workshops really help us to talk about how we can explore, review, and even express our inner feeling. So it is also a very important workshop to really find our inner self, so that through that reflection we can reflect out and review how best we can serve the community. And over here, the collaboration with other corporate, other producer and artisans, so then we can understand how the producer works for them, and we can explore the possibility to the brotherhood that Callie mentioned earlier on. And also here, we also put a lot of like scientific manner to talk about how does biodynamic or even organic really have a different, how should I say, different perspective to look into the beauty of nature. And over here, again, a different kind of workshop to really talk about our connection with food and the connection with producer. So as you can see, we have a lots of different workshops that have been carried on, that we talks about food, we talks about child development, we talks about biography over here, we talks about business. In all this kind of workshop, the main objective that we want to do is like how we can get people together to have interest with others, so that, as you can see on the top left corner, when we work as an individual, so the spirits is never without the matter, and the matter is never without the spirits. So while you can see the works here is like quite physical, but somehow it actually allows us to think in deep in ourselves, to have that inner development, so that through that we can improve ourselves and contribute back to the society. So as you can see over here, Callie and I was like honored to have this session to really talk and play games with the class 9 Waldorf school kids over there. So through what we have learned over the years, and for me, only 2 years, we can actually contribute back and to cultivate the second generation, to allow them to have that freedom of thinking on what are the impact they can do when they have graduated from school. And also we have all this different community works, so that it provides us an area and a platform to really practice from what we have learned thus far from the academy. So over here, you can see we are a group of volunteers, Kongsi co-workers and co-owners, who are trying to use this small patch of land that we have besides our Kongsi house to start on bringing the biodynamic farming ideas to the community as well. So as you can see, then we have different teachers, different children to work as a community. So at least through this works of community, then we can bring up some message or some other education to talk about how we can work together as one community. So we found that in every hard works, the best thing to connect everyone is the food. So then we can cherish the food even better, because now we understand how our food comes from. It is not just simply plucking in the sky or getting our mothers or fathers or parents simply cook the food for us, but we have a better and deeper connection on the efforts, the people behind the scene who actually brought up this wonderful meal together. And also here is a sneak peek to talk about like Callie sharing a session with some participant on how to make sauerkraut as well. And also on this sauerkraut workshop, not only people knows how to make wonderful sauerkraut, we also have this small little teaching forum to talk about the bumper harvest behind the wonderful cabbage that we have. Some issue that happen, why this bumper harvest happens, and if we are not the person who really supporting the farmers on their bumper harvest, other implication can happen with the farmers, and also the other supply stream related kind of implication that happens. So all this can be done in an educational manner. So just now, I talked lots of the community supported education by Kongsi Academy. So we also share lots of food images and pictures to everyone. So here I would like to share some of the model that we are trying to work out together, the CSA model by Kongsi, so that we can improve or even at least uplift the social well-being of our producer and farmers that I mentioned in the previous slide. And this is something which is not thing by us only. It is also because of the exchange by all the gathering that we have went to, like the BD conference that we went in last year, and also through different discussion. Then we try to merge everything together so that we can come out with this CSA model that we can share risk as a community with our producer friends and farmers friends. And also we can, through our activities through this CSA program, we can promote conscious consumerism. And also we can talk about how we can cooperate as a community so that we can together uplift our well-being instead of solely mentioning about profit-driven kind of community. So here we, Kongsi Co-op and Justlife Co-op, we went to visit spirulina farmers in Malaysia, Selangor, at the north tip of Selangor. So we learn about how this farmer grow their spirulina and how best we can work together as a community to support his business as well as he can produce quality spirulina to us. And also we have another visit to what is this farm again? To this function farm in Hulu Langat, also about west north to Selangor. So where we understand the challenges that faced by them so that we can work together to promote his producers to our community as well. So through all this community education, community visit, and also understanding how we can support them through our cooperative effort, we want to work, we also want to translate our knowledge to be some action that we can done. Like Johann Wolfgang Goethe mentioned, knowing is not enough, we must apply, and willing is not enough, we must do. So therefore, through all the knowledge that we have gained through the text study, to the education from academy, we also want to apply. So therefore, this is why Co-op is established. It has become a platform for us to apply, to refine, to also review on our knowledge so that we can improve better. A quick sharing on what is cooperative, if for those who have never heard about cooperative society. So it really talks about economic organization that emphasizes on cooperation first, then only about the profit-driven kind of organization. And although it can operate in the current market system, but it is also a form that we can cooperate to work on a mutual aid, and also to orientate to what are the services that we can provide to the co-op members. And through the establishment of co-op, together we can fulfill a common economy, social or cultural needs. So it is always, how can we fulfill a need of a society, but not from a financial perspective, but from a need perspective. So it can be quite artificial if you don't have a very clear intention on what you want to work on the cooperative manner. So, but it provides us a platform to work together and to practice the associative economy. So, and because it is a community-owned enterprise, so we can be inspired to fulfill our need first, then only we talk about profit to run our day-to-day operation. So, and why we want to put this picture over here, right? So this is a picture that in the old days in Malaysia, especially in the northern part of Malaysia, the villager and the rural areas, they literally move houses. Okay, they move house together. So it's not like us today. When we move house, we say that, okay, just pack a few luggages and then we bring our luggage to a new house. We call it move house. But back then, it's a very challenging mission to build a house. So you need a community to build a house together. And once you find that you need to move to a new place because of various reasons, you also need a community to carry the house and move the house to a new place. So this is why we want to be a co-op over here. So some of the 7 culture code for our sustainable living in Kongsi Co-op, it talks about how we can support earth-friendly, organic and biodynamic food, because we understand that food is very important for our daily life, be it for physical need or for mental needs. So, and also we want to cherish products and services that is friendly to the people and the environment. And through these 2 items, we want to make sure a green consumption model with a minimum wastage of resources. And we want to do business without exploiting others and the nature. And most importantly, we want to support local small-scale farmers and artisans to develop the associative economies. And through the academy, we want to provide diverse and holistic education in human development. And also through all these 7, through all the above 6 codes, we want to create a sustainable community with associative economics. And because of all this works that we have done so far, about 1.5 years, we slowly gathered like-minded people together. And these are the people who are really running the show behind to really establish Kongsi Co-op. And it was started by one person's intention. Slowly, the next come in. And now we have all this group of people who are working for a better community. And we hope there are more to join us. While we do not stop here, we also have other intention to develop our Kongsi Co-op more. So we talk about how we can work out on refining our community education so that we can have more people to rethink and to learn or upskill on their current skill set so that they can take care for themselves and also the community. We want to have a community cafe so that we can have this cafe to provide an avenue for producer, for artisan to get connect with consumer as well. We are also hoping to have this producer incubators so that we can attract more people to work on organic and biodynamic farming. And also, if you have read through the Associative economy or even the world economy by Gary Lamb and Steiner, they emphasize a lot of community land trust. And we believe that through this community land trust, the land can be used in more effective manner and efficient manner, which can really build a more sustainable community. And seed exchange and saving is one of the main agenda that we have because I like to quote like what Vandana Shiva has said before. If you control seed, so that means you can control humanity. This is such a powerful quote that I've heard so far. And it never struck my mind until I heard that quote. The small little seeds can really determine how humanity will really work towards too. Especially we will need food anyway. So, but all these seeds actually give us the strength and energy to explore the potential of an individual. But after, solving this food problem, right? Then the second problem, I call it the first world problem now, would be about the place to stay, the housing issue. So can we work on the co-op housing model so that people can be genuine free from their financial burden and they can focus more on how to work towards sustainable living. And especially in the current social manner right now, we see a lots of mental issue and physical issue. And we hope that through our community development, we can have this wellness and healthcare services that can practice on what we have learned from anthroposophy to take care about the spiritual well-being and also the physical well-being of an individual. And also the financial service and etc. I will not go in depth in that. So, but the main things is the possibility. There's no limit or there's no cap on what we can do as a community through associative economy. So I think there's always saying that the only limit is the sky. So we will really hope that we can invite more people and to co-create together on the community that we want. But after about like 30 minutes of talking, right? If you can't remember any things that I said earlier on, okay, no worries. Remember this 3 circle that I shown earlier on. Associative economy is always talk about the balance between culture, rights, and economics. Okay, so none of it should be overpower the other two. So because overpowering the others, right, you will have this imbalance kind of society happening at the end. So in Kongsi Co-op, how we practice this 3 sphere is through our CSE, the academy. We can bring knowledge to a person to allow them to make informed and conscious decisions so that they are free to bring their strength to enrich development of himself, herself, or the society as a whole. And through Kongsi Co-op, because Kongsi Co-op is an organization, then we can work together on equality issue, the rights issue, and how we want to form this community as a whole. So through this right, we are independent from the economy power, and we can be equal to each other to work together for the sustainable economy. And through the CSA model that I have shown earlier on, we can work together for each other and with each other so that the needs of others can be met by our work, and also their needs can be met by the other works as well. So these are the economies that we hope that through our efforts, we can build a better associative economies. So lastly, I want to provide this question to everyone to really think about what kind of community that you want to live in. So you do not need to answer to me right now. You can go home, think about it, and to review on what kind of community that you want to live in and how you can materialize it physically or spiritually through your effort. So to end, before we end our presentation and sharing, so we always like to share this video to everyone. So it's about 1 minute, so enjoy. So through the video, we learned that each one of us can make a difference, and together we make a change. And from there, I also like to close our sharing before going to the dialogue session with this closing verse. A healthy social life is found only when, in the mirror of each soul, the whole community finds its reflection, and when, in the whole community, the virtue of each one is living. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to share our experience to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, the two of you, with this very warm and authentic sharing, and with so much knowledge at the same time. So Kongsi is a cooperative. It does associative economics. And what does associative mean? It's socius, the other one, the other human being, and associate means to work together, to get in such relationship that we can coexist together. And this term association we have also here as the organizer of this talk today is the World Goetheanum Association. And we try to bring together all these kind of businesses that are engaged in this very way, to balance economy, rights, and the cultural sphere. And we have really examples like you and also differently structured enterprises all over the world. You mentioned Sekem. The CEO of Sekem was here with us about a year ago, and I will later also to this quite a few new participants. I will email the links for the sessions that we have set up, put up on YouTube already. So that we know, this is really in a big context. And on the other side, it's very beautiful to see how this is regionalized, how this is localized and adapted to the possibilities there in your place in Malaysia. So so many questions I have, but I would like to open the space for everyone. And we can do it, I think, so that you just blow it out. Just come in. You don't have to, I think, hold your hand up or so. Let's just try to do it in such a way that you just open your mic and speak first, please. Go ahead.
We try our best to answer your question through our experience. Yeah.
Hi. I was listening from the side the whole time. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. Really simple, easy to follow. It's wonderful to see you here again. My question is, how many people in your cooperative actually belong to the educated set of society? Because for us, that's a question in the third world.
If I get your question correctly, saying that how many of us are the educators, right?
Yeah, how many people in the co-op are able to actually grasp the concepts? Do you work with very simple farmers so they eventually really become members of the co-op, or are they more supporters? Or is it really more the intellectual group that carries the center, the core group?
I see. Over here, we actually have these two groups. One we call the core owner, and the other group is called the core workers. In the usual cooperative society context, right, they call their invested members. But for us, we call them core workers. The core workers doesn't have any criteria to become one because we are a consumer co-op. So long you know how to consume, then you can be one. But of course, it is subject to a certain criteria that we have. So so long as a consumer, then they can join. So that's the first one. Then the second one is like, since we are open up for many people, so everyone can actually join, be it you are only a consumer or educator or intellectual person or farmers. So long you consume, you can join to us. But the other things that we also want to be more open for this is because we also want to bridge the gap to let people to understand why they want to join us. Okay, when they consume, they have that consciousness. Okay, through us, they know what they are consuming, what they are spending from. So in some way, the education part, and we can really teach them on how we can work together. And different people, when they come into the Kongsi Co-op, then a few questions they ask is, how can they contribute to us? So they can either purchase our produce, they can also contribute through their skill, what they can offer as training for the others. So we can become a bit more flexible on other things that we can do, so forth and so on. Like the different academy topics that I shared earlier on, right? Those are actually presented by our core owners as well. So because like now cooperative, that's why we want to call ourselves as core owners instead of members. So everyone own a piece of this cooperative. Then you have that incentive and motivation work better for the co-op, because you're owner anyway. You don't want to see this co-op go down. So everyone want to contribute and how best we can uplift the co-op together. So perhaps I can also invite Callie to share some also on this question.
Okay, hi Grace. I think your question is like it's same as in Malaysia. We also have we have people in the like villages, and we have people who are more urban. And at the moment, Kongsi Co-op, our outreach are mostly urban, because we are based in the urban at this stage. But we do have quite a few farmers. I think we have quite a few farmers, organic and biodynamic at this stage, right, have joined us as a co-owner. Our intention is really to reach out to, more wider community out there. But at this stage, we are looking at more like advocates, people that can be the ambassador, because we are very new. So we do very, very, I would say, close which we call green carpet. So which is quite almost like what Siu-Ho have presented. So when they come, we will share with them our, the picture of the community that we want to bring together. And so they have a choice at the end of the green carpet whether they want to join us or not. Yeah, but it's compulsory. So anyone who are interested in Kongsi Co-op, they have to sit through about 90 minutes of this interaction. Yeah. So and we hope that at the end of the in the longer term, we can actually reach out to as many consumers as we can. Yeah, but at this stage, yes, Grace, is mostly the educated ones, the urban ones. Yeah, I would say is almost close to 100%. Yeah, with the exception of a few farmers.
Thank you very much. That's, I think, a very, very important topic. How much, so to say, consciousness does it need to do these things? Or then when we're working with a really very not well-educated persons like we do in the Philippines, how to integrate them properly? That is a very interesting research questions. And in Malaysia, I think we're, in general, there's a bit more social justice, there's more equality than in other countries. So it's a little bit different, and yeah, really good research question. Thank you very much. Please, next.
Yeah, I would like to ask one question. Thank you, Callie, for your nice presentation. I was just thinking that what is the main motivation of the consumer to be part of the cooperative, and also the producer? How you motivate them? What is the main motivation for them? Thank you.
How you want to go first? What is the motivation for consumer and the farmers to the producers to join us?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't speak for all consumer who wants to join us, but perhaps let me share my story why I joined. I only know about the Anthroposophic movement 2 years back. Okay, and before that, I do not know Callie, as if we actually know very long ago. We only know each other about 2 years only. So to others as well. My previous profession was a banker. So and also I was graduated as an engineer. So in the last 10 years, I've been working in the corporates. So food never come into my mind, even though I have that thoughts about sustainable living, how to protect the earth better, but I never know the true action, how to translate action to help. But until I think the turning point was during the movement control order happened in Malaysia when the pandemic was announced by WHO in March 2020. The banking industry in Malaysia was deemed the essential service in Malaysia. So we are still allowed to move freely, but for work purpose. Okay, so I had to report my duty at my office. During that time, it actually struck me quite hard when I noticed that there is quite a challenge just to find food during that time. Okay, food is actually quite important for our daily life actually, and imagine that time, right? With all the monies that you have together, you can't even buy a simple food to just overcome your hunger during the midday after work. It actually really struck me. So then the second thoughts on news was a lot of people was like passing on for various reasons. Then it really struck me again to think about, okay, how really that we want to work on this social issue. So to me, that was my turning point to really think about what can I do, and can I work on something else that can really benefit me physically or even mentally or spiritually. So something along that line. So, and when I was introduced to Callie, and Callie talks about the cooperative model, then it really feel that this is a model that we should work on, because it benefit me as a person, because somewhat I can directly source better food from farm. Secondly, I can work for a better cause together as a community. Because for a cooperative model compared to a normal private enterprise model, right? Eventually, most of the work that has been generated through cooperative society, it eventually benefit back to the cooperative society as well, instead of the private entities that we have currently. So that is one. Then secondly, on the producer angle, if we really speak with the producer nowadays, okay, I think one problem that I saw was after joining the Kongsi Co-op, one of the things that I saw is like people are so eager, to teach how farmers to farm. If you can get my sentence. We are so eager to teach farmers on how to farm, but eventually we forgot about how we help them to market. So I feel that there is a polarity on how we can really help them to uplift their social well-being. And through our Kongsi Co-op, I feel that because I'm a consumer, as I mentioned earlier, I want to purchase directly from the farmer without going through the middle person. So then the producer sees the marketing opportunity and revenue opportunity because buyers are coming to them directly. And also because of this direct relationship that we have now, the farmer can actually have a better income without filtering in the middle already. So so far, a few producers that we have met with, right, they actually feel that it would be better to have a direct contribution from the consumers purchase directly to them, so then they can have a little bit more better pricing on their end. And especially if you notice on our several principles, right? One of the principles we emphasize, we want to support local small scale farmer even more. It is because, right, they are actually the most vulnerable producer, where they have the skill, the time, and the knowledge to really take care for themselves. But the thing is, most of the time are spent on the farm, because doing farming work is a time sensitive job, and they do not have that spare time to really work on marketing or other works other than marketing. So we Kongsi Co-op actually somewhat bridge that gap to form that direct relation between consumer and producer. So this is why most of them, they are quite supportive with our initiatives. I hope that gives you a little bit more pictures on how consumer and producer would support on these initiatives.
Yeah, I think I just add on a little bit. I think Hao give a very comprehensive answer. For the, I guess, for the both consumer and the producers, right, that join us, from my observation is that, they most of them felt that this is the community that they actually, want to have, in our in the world today. So I think a lot of people see that, yes, this is how we should live. So I think this is actually quite commonly the answer I get from those that join immediately after they attended the green carpet, and after a few dialogues, and a lot of them came to us through our activities. They came to our activities, and then they observe, and then they have a lot of conversations, and then they decided to come to the green carpet, and then they join. So this is the normal flow of people. And for the I would say for the consumers, right, the biggest motivation to join Kongsi, other than wanting to build this community together, right, is that a very realistic one. There is a group of people helping them to source for products that they want and that they need in their life. And the other thing is that also to evaluate. Okay, so we kind of like, get to know the producers, and then, we do all the homework for them. So this is one quite a good motivation for the consumers. So they, that save a lot of time, and also they are also invited to come with us. Yeah. So just now Hao shared about the PGS. We have our own tiny PGS that the co-owners can come along to visit the producers. Yeah. So this is another motivation. And so they know exactly where their food come from, their products come from, and services come from. And the other thing is for the farmers, right? We have done a onboarding program with the co-owners. We call it Meet the Producers. So we had 5 farmers that came and shared their story, and then and then the co-owners have a chance to dialogue with them. The biggest motivation for the farmers to want to be part of this CSA. In fact, we have one farm that is a very established farm with over 20 years of experience in farming, and now conversion into biodynamic farm, and have very established organic retailers as their customers. And they have expressed very strong interest that they want to be on board the CSA program. So they say, this is the way they want to work with their customers. They don't want their products to be sitting on the shelf and then waiting for people to buy. They want to know where their products goes to. Okay. And the other thing is, I would say the very, very big motivation for the producers is that the co-owners of Kongsi Co-op will share the risk with the farmers. So this is, I think, we said, we have like, 30 families to support one farm instead of one farm supporting 30 families. So it's that kind of model that I think attracts the attention of the producers. Yeah. Shahidu, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, we are very new. So in fact, you saw Silho's slides, right? We have CSA, but with a bracket, work in progress. So we are actually in the, it's a very baby steps. And in fact, I think our coach, Delphine, she's the director of Kongsi Co-op. She has a doctorate in social enterprise, and she's also very attracted to Gary Lamb's book, Associative Economics. So, we also have people like her. She's like totally never heard about Anthroposophic before, but when she hear about associative economics, the word, right? And that kind of attracted her. So, for various reasons, people are attracted to this cooperative model. Yeah, I would say. And I have this young man here called Panjang. Hello, Panjang. Panjang is, he came to Kongsi through our recycle day. And we have a monthly recycle day with organic biodynamic market. And he came to the market, and I remember chatting with him because the market is very small. So we keep it very small so that the co-working team can have a dialogue, conversation with as many people as we can. Yeah. So I remember chatting with Panjang, and he said, this is exactly the kind of community I've been looking for, right, Panjang? He said, I've been looking for this for so long. And he just saved enough money to join us like 2 days ago. So yeah, he met us in December, and he officially joined us like 2 days ago, and together with his partner, Chloe. They are both co-owners. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, Shahidul is from Bangladesh, and and we just had this question from Grace from the Philippines. It's very important, that we meet you while you're in as a work in progress, where you're rather in the beginning where things unfold, and it's even in a way, more interesting to learn from you at this point in time, as if you were 50 years old, like Sikkim, where everything is like, my God, so far out, so developed. You think it's how could we ever get there? No. So yeah, great. Thank you very much for these questions, Grace and Shahidul. Maybe one other person wants to ask, because Grace and myself, we have so many questions, but please, others go ahead first. Frank, no question. Then I will come first. I have one question. I heard that you said it's managed democratically. Now there's many ways of democracy. What does it mean, democracy here?
Kelly, do you want to go on?
You can share.
Oh, okay. Well, democracy to me is like hectic, chaotic at the starting. and Walter, you pointed out correctly, because now we are very new, right? So many things we really, trying to work out together and see how we want to put up our voices. And especially like my former companies, when in a typical corporate setup, right? The so-called democracy is who has the loudest voice wins, not the who has the most vote wins. Okay, but over here, then we really need to turn down, and then we need to have a lot of discussion ongoing to talk about, to brainstorm about. So eventually, from all this discussion, right, then only we come into that democratic events to talk about these are the directions that we want to go. But to reach that agreement, democratic agreement, we need to really trash out lots of questions, tough, harsh questions, and also we have to do a lot of homework for ourselves before we come into that agreement. I think up to now, to me, democratic means not only you have the most vote to work together as a team, but you will have to really talk about the things, the challenges, and whether it is sense making, whether it is reasonable to work on it as a community as a whole. During the process, you may have arguments, you may disagree, or even the same famous quote, you want to agree to disagree on something. But the most important thing is, like, even after you disagree, after you agree to disagree, then we have to take action to work on that. And also, because you have, we always say that so long you have voice out, you have share your concern, okay, so everyone acknowledge it, then we can actually work together to, to somewhat to mitigate the risk, the concern together. So that is a more democratic approach that I feel it is now. It is not about 2/3 say yes to go, and the remaining 1/3 say, I say disagree, so I will not involve at all because I'm the no person. But we also have to respect the agreement, and we put our best to work together to perfect the thing. So at least we have each other check and balance. So that's the democracy that I know of right now through the efforts that we have worked for the past one and a half years.
Yeah, here I would like to ask that I think you have I think you have a governing body, and it is elected by the members of the cooperative. How it's work?
Thank you for the question. If I may, our governing body is something very similar to what you have in a public listed company or even like a society. You have the General Assembly, given the mandates to the Board of Directors to really navigate the direction of the co-op. And from there, the direction will be given to the management body to execute and to maintain the operation. So those are actually quite a standard organization chart that you have. But what we trying to implement is the horizontal kind of organization. So in a typical organization is the horizontal one, the vertical organization, where you have layers of manager and supervisor, okay, in the middle between the top management and the actual worker, okay. So for what we are trying to practice now, so working our best, is that we are the manager level and we also are the worker level. Because our team is relatively small right now, so our chain of command is actually quite fluid and quite smoothly. Because end of the day, like what we like to say in Chinese, in Malaysian Chinese, we call it one leg cake. It's like you have multiple tasks or roles in one person's. So that's the only hand that you have. But I think the beauty of, but eventually we were still trying to work out the best model that we can have for our co-op. So, but one thing for sure, we would want to keep that fluidity and flexibility on governing how we work, because end of the day, we want to strive for the best for the betterment for the community. That's more important. The structure wise can change anytime. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Hao. I'll add on a little bit. Yeah. I guess common language is very important. You know, like if we come in, we have a common language, as in like we have the same intention. Yeah, the why is the same. Then the democracy is more meaningful. So for Kongsi Co-op, we are very, as we are new, so we don't have that many co-owners at this stage. So we try to build this common language together. Okay, one is through activities. The other one is through tech study. So Associative Economics by Gary Lam is a very easy book to read together. So we you know, our co-working team, our board of directors, most of us come to this tech study together. And now we are reading this Fully Human by Alex. Alex is the business coach, right? Using horizontal leadership, and he has this tools that we use in Kongsi called 7 beacons. So first we have to set our why, and then we have to have our culture code, how we want to work together, and then we have our strategy. So it's all these things that we try to, you know, to build this culture at the onset. Yeah, and we also have which is Samantha. Samantha is also with us tonight. Samantha is the principal of Kongsi Academy, and she has a very good program to onboard the co-owners. So the co-owners will come in, and then we keep inviting them for you know, what do you call that, interactive session together. So that will cover like health, gardening, and home care, you know, and all these kind of topics. Through this onboarding program, we can share more about, you know, the culture that we are trying to build together. And of course, democracy means that everyone has one vote. That is a common, you know, standard international rules for cooperative, which is what we like. It doesn't matter how much you put in, the capital you put in, you have it's by person, which is really, really nice. I like this model a lot, because in a normal corporation, it's by the percentage of votes, the percentage of shares that you are holding. So, but, you know, in cooperative, everyone have equal right as one, you know, as in like one vote, regardless of your amount of capital you put in. Yeah. And among the core workers level, we try to practice horizontal leadership. This is what we are learning now, how to do it horizontally through process ownership. So like Siho said, right, one person have multitask. So everyone are team leader and teammates at the same time. So it's interesting, interesting process. Interesting learning that we have now, but we have guides, yeah, in these 2 books, Associative Economics by Gary Lam, and in Associative Economics by Gary Lam, there's a lot of very easy to understand example of how we take care of our people, even how we pay salary, even, you know, and small things like that. Yeah, to us, it's a good start. We still don't know how exactly it is yet. And we are under the coach of Delphine. We are in the process of documenting our governance. So we will be happy to share how our captain, he is the guy leading this, but we would be more than happy to share with you guys as soon as we have something, and a draft copy or something. And then, you know, as we build on it, we hope that this can be a model that that can be, you know, shared around the world.
So thank you very much. I understand everyone, every individual, every member actually has one vote, and officially you're doing majority vote, no? That means simple majority, while in the reality you're trying to come up to a consensus that nobody is excluded, no? And that, of course, in the further development of the co-op will constitute a certain challenge, no? That, as you already said in the beginning, how that can be time consuming, and that will have to be looked at over time in the development of the cooperative. Thank you very much for sharing all this so clearly and abundantly. More questions or contributions? Frank.
I have a question on the sustainability part, because I super understand that economic profits should be secondary. I think it can be like the third and fourth priority. So I totally believe in that one. But we also can't escape economic realities. So my question as a banker also is, how do you guys sustain your operations understanding and knowing that CSAs and a lot of the community supported initiatives that we have do take time to become sustainable? So how are you guys able to start something, and assuming, and I'm hoping that there's like fund flows even if the economic profits are not yet coming in, no? So that's my question. How, like, what's making you sustainable right now, or how are you sustaining that? That may be the correct question. How are you sustaining your operations right now?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think it's a very realistic things that everyone would face at the beginning of setting up a business. I think one thing for sure is that never think too much, because once you think, you can't move. So and I think it's quite interesting when we first started, we just share our vision, and then we tell people that okay, we need money. Okay, anyone has spare money, please put into Kongsi. So we have quite a few people. In fact, we the most touching moment that I had was after one green carpet, we received our co-ownership, right, is 1,000 ringgit. I don't know how much is it in peso, but it's 1,000 ringgit. So it's not a lot, but it's also not too little. So we want it to be at the something that you need a bit of will, so like Panjang saved almost 6 months. So so it's like you need a bit of will, but also not too high. So it's commonly people can come in, right? And after one green carpet, we received 10,000 ringgit, okay, from someone, and he is actually a farmer. Yeah. So, and I know he doesn't have a lot of money, so he probably has given us all his money. I don't know, but I felt, I think we all felt so touched and so, I think so full of energy that, he has faith in us and he wants us to be successful. And I actually called him and I said, you probably have given this Kongsi Co-op everything that you have right now. He said, he sees that Kongsi is the way to go. So I think there are people out there that are willing to support such initiative. We just have to be, and at the very beginning, Ning is the one that has been doing this green carpet from, we did it together from the very beginning. And she can tell you that, at the beginning, right, we only share dreams. We have nothing concrete and no place and nothing. We just nomad, going from one place to another, just sharing our dream, what kind of community, a cool community that we want to live in. And we have a lot of people come to us that, willing to put in. So we started with capital from all these new co-owners. Yeah. And we managed to renovate the old house that just now how Siu Ho shared. And we managed to kickstart our some activities, and also our office space. But one of the core sustainable business model that we have within the Kongsi Co-op is our academy. So that if you go to Kongsi Co-op, you can see that we are running a lot of workshops, a lot of different kind of workshops. So we do two types of workshop. One is money generating ones, so we are like Robin Hood. Now we rob from the rich and then we give to the poor. So some workshops, people are willing to pay for it. And then another one, but we also do big workshops online that people pay very little, but we have the numbers. So we also collected quite a bit of money from there to start. But we share with people, by signing up this one, you are supporting this Kongsi Co-op. So we do that a lot, and we still do now. And then the other thing that we do is community education. So that one is like free, or they just pay on cost basis. That is the long-term plan of Kongsi Co-op. But at the same time, we need to sustain, right? So at the very beginning, Kongsi Academy is really the one that is holding this whole co-op movement while we are working on our CSA. You are right. CSA takes time. Yeah. So because CSA, we need to, connect, and then to find out how to do it. And we need a system. We need more input as well. So it took us, I think it took us over a year, almost more than a year now. Okay. So to come up with a model that we are ready to pilot, okay, to start small. Yeah. So Samantha is our banker right now.
Thanks, Callie. Thank you. That was very helpful.
Yes. And we still continue to share with people that, if they feel that this is the direction they want to see. Yeah. I think its most important thing is, I guess, is also our conviction. Yeah. That we believe that this is the way to go. Yeah. So I think it's a team's conviction. Also, I want to invite Panjang to share a few words, because he came to the green carpet and then immediately he said he wants to sign up. So it will be interesting to hear from him.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, Kelly did texted me to share like how did I join Kongsi, because I'm late to the party lah, I guess, from all these participants from today. I think I just joined yesterday. I mean, I already knew Kongsi since the last year, I guess, from December or November. Yeah, Kelly remembers me, I think November, I guess. So yeah, I joined Kongsi. Yeah, it's a very interesting concept for me, because I was always dreaming about all this doing all this like eco-friendly stuff. I've been doing it. We've been doing it. Me and Chloe been doing like organic gardening on our own, and also recycle all this waste. We try to reduce waste as many as possible, because there are too many waste. And I have a lot of backstory because of my location of my place. There are a lot of people like throwing rubbish everywhere. So I really observe this as a problem. And then it just happened that I found Kongsi, that they have all these big ideas about going to live like very eco-friendly and growing our own stuff, and then building community, building all these CSA programs. I think it's very it seems like it's going to be like very beneficial for the community, and also to escape ourselves from what Gary Lam said as the evil corporate lah. Yeah, I had the same mindset like Kongsi, even though before I joined, and then from there I start to work together. Like even though I don't officially join in, as Kelly mentioned, I still need time to save up my money. But from there, even though I just simply volunteer, and then I learn all this, whatever that like Siu Hao was saying about this democracy in the group, about all this having the same vision, like Kelly said, it's really like strengthened up my own belief. It's building me up, and then everyone like very supportive in their own way, and then it gives it creates this like feeling that this is going to be sustained. This is going to be the best way to move forward in our life. So yeah, I guess that's my introduction, and also like hopefully it's from the one who late joined in a Kongsi, and the view from my side lah, as a newly joined co-owner. And I really appreciate all this, whatever that Kongsi did, and thanks to Callie for introducing me in this Kongsi. And then yeah, we are going definitely we are going to help more people, and then build more soil. I'm more into gardening stuff, so soil is very important. Definitely we have to protect it as much as we can, and one of the best ways is to help the farmers to not using all these herbicides, pesticide, fungicide, or whatever, all these chemicals, so that once the soil is fertile, once the soil is protected, it will definitely helps to cover all aspects, such as economy, such as the people well-being, our own health. Yeah. So yeah, okay. One last thing that I want to mention is that I never learned about anthroposophy at all. Like Sio Hao and Callie always mention about anthroposophy. I have no background at all since before I joined this group. But interestingly, my belief at that time until now, I don't know. I read a lot of different sources of knowledge, especially old wisdoms, like for example, like Quran, Bible, even Bible also, like or even like Stoic, like previous Marcus Aurelius writings. It seems that whatever all this wisdom that I got outside, it really matched up with this anthroposophy, somewhat worldview, I guess. It's just a different language, and I don't understand at all the language. When I just joined all this, what were all the spiritual, spiritualized conversation or some kind. But I can grasp it. I can grasp it with a different approach. I just it's just a discussion. Just use your heart when you discuss. So that's when I get to know it, really like touch my heart. It really like link to all this old wisdom that I already acquired. Not to say acquired, but view lah. So it's really strengthened up my own belief, and by having this group, by having this Kongsi Co-op, I think definitely we cannot be stopped lah. So yeah, I think that's all my sharing lah. Thank you, Callie. I think.
Thank you so much, Panjang. That was like a summary from the heart of all we heard today. That's very great, really. And I think we're in the time-wise, we're kind of anyway have come to the end. So that was a really great wrap up. I would like to stay on a little bit after I end the recording. And I also want to add 2 or 3 sentences still to what Panjang said. So one thing, that I remember from the beginning of your sharing, that there was something with GMO, right? That kind of gave an impulse. You know, I'm saying that because, you know, it's sometimes it's interesting, where do we get our impulses from and how are we being led? And it's something, you know, bad that we go against. No, that was like the impulse. And then, you know, the government actually helped, you know, because they came around and said, you know, we need, what organization are you? No, so that's an unexpected help, actually. And of course, the person that asks you that is not even aware what he's doing. So we can really see the help of the spiritual world. You know, we're too not wise enough. That this person is not wise enough. But in the end, we see, wow, there's something happening that is, yeah, that is like orchestrated. No, so I think that's very important to see the impulses, you know, that come to us from somewhere, and then this panjang comes there, and you know, things open up in a new way. No, and one last thing I want to say, you know, whenever I meet you guys, and also this session today, you know, there's a lot of joy coming over in what you do. And I think, you know, when we think of the evils of the world, there's so much work to do, and how do we do this and that, but without joy, you know, it doesn't make really sense. So congratulations. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, and I'm ending the recording as soon as I can. I just have to find the right button here. Sorry, it's I can't find it.